Welcome again to Chris's Caribbean Delights. And it's the season, it's the pumpkin season. And behind me, I have a nice large pumpkin, which I'm going to make some pumpkin puree. Pumpkin puree, if you make, I have nothing against the cans. The cans are fine. I've used them before. But if you make it yourself, you'll never go back to the cans. You can add your own flavor. It's so clean and fruity, and the taste is just totally different. So make your own pumpkin puree, and I'll show you how. Let's go to the pumpkin. So this pumpkin is about 10 pounds. You can use a smaller pumpkin, but you'll find them now in the grocery stores. They're labeled pumpkin pie or sugar pumpkin, or yeah, something like that. You know, pumpkin for pumpkin pies or whatever. But those are the types you want. You don't want the jack-o'-lantern ones that you will carve and stuff like that. Those are, I wouldn't say they're tasteless, but you wouldn't get a proper product if you're going to do the puree. Those are for carving. The pumpkin pies or the sugar pumpkin, those are the ones you're looking for if you go to the farmer's market or you go to your grocery store. They're everywhere now. So there are several ways you can roast this pumpkin in order to make your puree. You can do the whole pumpkin. You'll just cut the top off, scoop out the inside, and then roast it. Or you can just punch some holes in it all around for ventilation, and just put it in the oven just like this. And within maybe an hour and a half, depending on the size of your pumpkin, it would be nice and tender to the punch. Once you put a knife in there, it's going to be really soft, and you'll know that it's done. So my method would be roasting the whole pumpkin. I'll just put the whole pumpkin in there and let it roast, and that's going to take probably an hour. So with a big knife, you know, you just do some so take a little work and just put some holes in it all around, because you just, when it starts to cook, you want the steam to escape. So you just do some holes in there, and we're going to roast the entire pumpkin. That should be enough. And I lined my pan with some foil, and we'll just put this guy in the oven and let it go. Just forget about it for about an hour and a half. Just set your timer about an hour. Check it in an hour, and it should be almost where you want it to be. When you test it, the knife should go cleanly inside and out with no obstructions. Okay, because if you see, I have to use a lot of energy to do it now because it's raw. So, but when it's finished, it should be one nice clean stick, and you'll see, you'll know. And the color is going to change. It's going to have a nice dark purplish color the skin, and the skin will be removed, can be removed very easily. So let's get this in the oven and get some pumpkin roasted and make some pumpkin puree. We're gonna puree this once we get the meat out of there. We're gonna put it in the food processor and get it to that texture of the puree texture, and then we can make some pies. We can make some pancakes. We can do whatever we want to do with the puree, and it holds. If you freeze it, you can can it and it lasts for a couple of years, or you can freeze it, lasts for a few months, or I just keep it in the refrigerator. And because I use it within a couple of weeks, you just put it in the refrigerator and let it and leave it there. So let's get this guy in the oven and get him roasted. 350. You set your oven to preheat your oven to 350, and you'll put it in there and check it in an hour, and we'll see what we have. So, depending on the size of your pumpkin, may take an hour, may take an hour and a half. This one is 10 pounds, so I'm figuring it may take about an hour or 45 minutes. So I'll just give it, give it some time. And if you find when you take it out, when you check on it the first time, and you put the knife in, and the knife is difficult to get to come out or go in, it needs some more time. So just give it another half an hour and you'll be perfect. Okay, so we'll be back in an hour.
1, 2, 3.
So after an hour and a half, I'm going to, I tested the pumpkin and it's cooked. So we're going to take that out and we'll see what it looks like. Here we go. So this is what a roasted pumpkin looked like. I roasted the whole pumpkin, and when the knife goes through it, oh, it's so smooth. You know, it's cooked. It's thoroughly cooked. So we have to let this cool for a while before we cut into it. I'll just divide it in halves and get sections, and we'll be able to peel to take the skin off. So, this is fantastic. Can I cut it now? I'm so anxious to get into that. What we can do, it's really hot, so you gotta be careful. I just want to see what the inside looks like. Awesome. Awesome. So the seeds are in there, which we can roast later. So just let this cool so that we can handle it properly. just want to open it so that it can cool quicker. And then we have to clean all that stuff out of there and just get just the solid meat from the pumpkin. So once this is cool, I'll be back to show you that process. We're going to clean this all out and get her and take the skin off. The skin would be, you'll be able to remove the skin very easily, like that. But once it's cool, you'll be able to handle it better. So let's give it about 30 minutes or so and just let it cool down a little. I'll be back. So now that it's cool, we just remove all the seeds and the membrane from the inside. Just use some tongs to do that. It's still steamy. And you let that water, just let all that water drain, because you don't need that water. You're going to get a thick puree. So that's the process. I'll just continue peeling, getting all the skin off, and then we'll get the pulp into the food processor and start our puree. So I'll be back. So here I am. I filled up my blender, and you have some nice caramelized pieces in there. Oh, those are going to be awesome. And I'm going to puree this. There's no need to add anything to it right now. You'll just get a nice puree, and we'll go from there. Also, I have to do it in 2 batches. The pumpkin is pretty big, so I have to do it in 2 batches. And let's get the first batch done. Make sure everything is covered up. Power on. As usual, just have to make sure it goes down, and everybody's getting pureed here. do a taste test here now. And it's nice and sweet. It has a little bit of a fruity, kind of little fruity taste to it. And the consistency is awesome. It's not really runny and it's still warm. When it cools down, I should say, it would take on a different, a thicker consistency. But right now, this is fine. This is fine. And once you put it in the refrigerator, it's gonna thicken up a little more. Awesome. Pumpkin puree. Homemade pumpkin puree. You don't have to go buy it anymore. Forget about the can. You can do it yourself. Do it yourself. Just roast that pumpkin. It took an hour and a half, and that was a 10-pound pumpkin. It took an hour and a half. And once I got it out of there, let it cool, you just peel the skin off, and then you cut it up and blend it. Put it in the blender, and you're good. Okay, so these things you can do for yourself, and this is the season to do it. Just do it right now. Go get you a pumpkin, make some puree, make some pumpkin pies, pumpkin pancakes, pumpkin muffins, anything pumpkin. Okay, pumpkin. Like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next clip. Thank you for watching. So this is the amount that I got. Pretty large bowl here. It's almost maybe quite a few liters, like 4 liters or so of pumpkin puree. So it yields a lot. So I'll get this together once it cools down, put it in some containers, whether the ball jars or Ziploc bags, and just freeze it. So I'll let this cool overnight, and then I'll just put it away in the refrigerator tomorrow.